him, man. He's like around the nose battle. Like, get him some milkshake and like, ice cream.
No, this is fine. It's fine. No, bring it. Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, those of you who are watching, firstly, let me thank you all for watching, for giving your precious time to us. Secondly, thank you, brother. We had our Shia brothers come to us in the park today. This is Sayid Ali.
Sorry, my brother here, respected brother, he saw me. He said he remembered my name straight away. He said, Sayed, I want to speak to you.
Yes, exactly. Because he's a nice guy.
I didn't come hunting for him to speak to you.
No, he didn't. He did not. He came to the park, I saw him, and I said, I want to talk to you. Let's talk. Because I know I can talk to this person respectfully, right? What happens in Shia-Sunni discussions very often, unfortunately, discussions turn into insulting matches. You know, there is a lot of abuse from both sides, sarcasm, you know, unpleasant language. We don't want any of that. My view is that we can talk to each other, we can share our values, our views, and we can represent our respective theologies and disagree at the same time. You know, because obviously it is clear that the Shias and the Sunnis have a different epistemology. We have different sources. We have different understandings of the Quran, of the Sunnah, or even the concept of Sunnah, and even Allah, I would say. Okay, so we differ on major issues. That's why we are two different schools, right? So I want to have a chat with Sayid Ali today about these things, possibly for an hour or two. Hopefully in a very cordial fashion, and I will request from the audience, those who are watching, just listen carefully and not intervene, because obviously we don't need intervention. We are representing ourselves. I'm representing myself. Sayyid Ali is representing himself. Let us talk to each other in a friendly way, and inshallah we'll take it from there. That's it. So, what do you have to say, Sheikh?
Well, no, fine. No
okay,
shake, no
that's
shake.
it. So, no problem. Sheikh is the title of his thing. So, so one of the major issues we have is the Shia brothers around the world, scholars in particular, they claim that they are the true followers of the Ahlul Bayt, right? And this is a concept, or this is a notion we have a problem with as Sunnis. We believe that that's not true. The Shias are not actually following the Ahlul Bayt. They are actually following the ones who attributed information to the Ahlul Bayt. Because the Ahlul Bayt never came to the Shia community in person, the community we know today, and taught them anything. Right? The information that is attributed to the Imams came via chains of narrations, and these chains must be scrutinized. Likewise for us Sunnis. So when we look at the chains, we the Sunnis in particular, we see problems. We see people in the chains who cannot be telling the truth.
We have the same problem, by the way.
No problem.
Yeah, we have the same issue.
I understand. So this is one of the reasons. So let's talk about this, that are the Shias actually following the Ahlul Bayt? I'm saying we the Sunnis, who are the majority in the world, currently speaking, we are the true followers of the Ahlul Bayt because we have authentic information attributed to them. Okay? And our information can be authenticated 100%. While with the Shia school, unfortunately, we think that's not possible. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, firstly, I would have to say that with respect to this big brother here, he's totally false. When we talk about the Ahlul Bayt, obviously we need to define who they are. We understand that you include the wives of the Prophet within the category of Ahlul Bayt. We have a different interpretation. We're not going to discuss that. But if we're going to primarily stick on who follows the Ahlul Bayt, then I would like to demonstrate 3 simple examples today, which proves that you do not take your religion from Ahlul Bayt. The first one is the fact that you guys do not read Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You do not believe it to be part of the Holy Quran. So when you look at the Holy Quran, you open it out, you look at the first verse, Surah Fatiha, you do not include Surah Fatiha to be the first, Surah Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim to be the first verse. And this was the belief of the Ahlul Bayt, to believe Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim was part of the Quran, and it was the belief of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The next point is when it comes to the issue of Salah. the Ahlul Bayt used to read Hayya ala khair al-amal. Okay, whereas you guys with the Sunni brothers, they read Hayya ala khair al-minnum. Okay, and again, this is the second example. A third example is the issue, for example, of Taraweeh. We just come from the holy month of Ramadan. Some of your scholars, like Imam Shukani, clearly mentioned in his book Nail al-Tar, he says that Ahlul Bayt consider Taraweeh to be a bid'ah. So I would like to know what aspect of the Ahlul Bayt do you follow? Do you follow them on Tawheed? Because they definitely do not share the same opinions as you do. They don't follow. They don't have the same belief as you on the issue of Isma. They don't have the same issue on the matter of fiqh. Your own scholars have admitted themselves that when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt, the Shias are very exclusive of following them on these particular issues. So you can
Okay, thank you for that, Sayid Ali. The issue is we're not discussing certain theological points or positions, because if we start doing that, then we will be discussing the entirety of Al-Kafi and Al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim.
No
that's absurd. That's impossible to do in this short sitting. What we're discussing is the actual concept of the Ahlul Bayt and how do we follow them, the epistemology.
Okay.
Epistemology means the theory of knowledge. How do we actually reach certainty? How do we know what we are taught in the name of the Ahlul Bayt is actually true?
Yeah.
What's actually taught by the Ahlul Bayt? That's a very important question, and this is what I want to address.
Sure.
Instead of going into certain reports of Al-Kafi, Man La Yahdur Al-Faqih, Al-Istibtar, or Tahdib, 4 books, or our 6 books, we'll be here for another year, easily, right? So we should avoid discussing that. What we should focus on is the concept. How do we actually know that these teachings that are attributed to the Ahlul Bayt are actually from the Ahlul Bayt? Right. So you mentioned things like, who are the Ahlul Bayt, for example. Let's assume, for the sake of the discussion, we say the Ahlul Bayt are the ones you choose.
Yes.
Okay. As Sunnis, we have a view of the Ahlul Bayt. We have a comprehensive view. Quranically, we know the Ahlul Bayt are primarily the wives. And that's another discussion. It's a very deep discussion. It is based upon the Quran. The verses of Surah Al-Ahzab from verse 30 to 34, when you read these 4 verses in context, you get to realize that the wives are definitely, by default, Quranically, are the Ahlul Bayt.
See, we now, have... Okay, sorry, just a quick point, Obviously, he's stating the Sunni position, but the Shia have a different opinion about this, because when we look at the verse, and again, we're not debating this particular verse here, when we mention the word, if we look at the Arabic, it mentions the word rijis. And Allah talks about different types of rijis, okay? One of the types of rijis is what a woman has on a monthly basis, for example. This is also regarded as rijis. And we know the wives of the Prophet suffered from rijis. So therefore, we would automatically exclude them when Allah says He removes all rijis from them. So let's not discuss Ayat al-Tahid. Let's stick to... Okay, so what you try to say is that how do we
But the Quran
validate...
is not talking about that rijis.
Okay, we can discuss...
I agree with you.
Okay,
that the Quran is not talking about monthly cycles. Quran is not addressing that, because how do we know what the Quran is talking about? By reading the 4 verses from 30 to 34. When you read, Allah is talking about spiritual purity. Allah is talking about spiritual uprightness. Be upright, straighten your voice, do not talk to people in soft tone, lest there is someone with a disease in the heart, he is inclined towards you. This is what Allah is talking about. By the way, Allah wants to remove impurity from you.
Let's not forget who was around at the time when Allah also mentions when you speak to the wives, speak to them behind the veil. And which is interesting because it goes into another topic of the term al-Mu'mineen, the mothers of the believers. And as we know from Islam, a mother is not required to do hijab from their children, which proves that al-Mu'mineen is just exclusive to the issue of marriage. But anyway, so what you're saying is, brother, is that how do we establish whether or not the information that has come to us is from the Ahlul Bayt? So, we would say that when it comes to our books of hadith, many of these reports have been mass transmitted to us. These reports have been mass transmitted to us, and we accept them. The issue is not whether or not the reliability of these reports, because even now, I can present you a Sahih tradition which may go against what you believe. But you won't accept it because it's a Shia tradition. Likewise, you will present something to me from your books that could well easily have a Sahih standard. But I will not accept it because it's your book. You understand? So, if we want to talk about how do we understand what information has reached us, I'd say through tawatur and mutawatir reports that has been passed down from one generation to the next.
Thank you for that. You see, I'm not going to give you reports from, for example, Abu Huraira, or from Umar. We hardly have any, right? Or from Abdullah bin Umar. Umar. I said Umar. We hardly have any.
No, Abdullah bin Umar. He's the biggest narrator.
No, Umar. Abdullah bin Umar is the biggest, one of the biggest. So I said about Umar that we hardly have any, right? So Abdullah bin Umar, Abu Huraira, you don't accept them.
No.
Okay. So I'm talking about.
No, so we can accept them. We can accept them within certain conditions.
Okay.
Within certain, if they fulfill certain conditions, we can accept reports.
Even Abu Huraira?
Yeah, why not?
Of
course.
Is he not? No. Do you accept reports from disbelievers? Munafiqun?
No. Okay, now hold on. Wait, one second. Okay, if you want to, no, wait, one second. It's a good, valid question. Valid question. The brother said that do we accept reports from munafiqun? Well, it depends who you define as munafiqun, because the nawasib, by definition, by default, were munafiqs because they kept the hatred of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the heart. You have narrated from nawasib narrators, so I could very easily ask you, do you take from munafiqs?
No, we don't.
We're not going to do. You do nawasib.
No. Wait. Nawasib.
Even from Khariji.
I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Marwan.
No, I'm not talking about Marwan. I can give you traditions. I can mention now 33 narrators from Bukhari and Muslim at least, or within the 6 books, who were known nawasibs. Okay? For example, interestingly, the son of Abu Huraira, who was called Bilal ibn Abu Huraira, who fought against Mawla Ali in Safin, was defined as a nawasib, and he was also a companion of the Prophet.
Now, this question again goes back to our science of hadith. Our muhaddiseen have studied these accusations. Certain individuals were accused of certain things by certain later authorities. So what did our muhaddiseen do? They scrutinized every single one of these accusations. For example, Ikramah. Ikramah.
Khariji.
Exactly. Ikramah was accused of being a Khariji. Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani.
He was a Khariji, but not accused.
Wait. Again, if you want to go into that discussion whether he was a Khariji or not, we're going to be here for another maybe.
The principle you brought up in the Nawasib, the one that's actually agreed that is an Nawasib. Talk about those.
Yeah.
So Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani, in his Muqaddamah of Sahih al-Bukhari, he writes an entire chapter on Ikramah. And he brings in every single accusation and dismantles it. And he gives his reasons as to why he doesn't believe Ikramah, Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani in his Muqaddamah. Okay? So all of these accusations, we have scrutinized them. Now, amazingly, what our Shia brothers failed to do.
I'm talking about the ones who your scholars of Ilm al-Rijal, like Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, al-Mizzi, Zahabi, all these scholars confirm that these individuals were nawasib, the nasbis, and the narrators within the 6 books of hadith.
Yes, and I'm not denying that. There's certainly.
So then it comes back to your point.
No.
Except for munafiqs. I can ask you the same question.
Okay, no. First of all, you see, anyone who's a Nasibi, okay, was declared to be a Nasibi in the Sunni school, right? It was clear that this person was a hater of Ali bin Abi Talib, or he was someone who used to curse Ali bin Abi Talib, or he was known to have used bad language of Ali bin Abi Talib. And for that reason, we have rejected certain people to be authorities for us in deen. We do not take our deen from certain people.
But you do.
Likewise, in Sahih al-Bukhari, you will see certain people with tashayyu'.
Yes.
In the chains. Yeah. So our Shia brothers will always point to the Nasibis.
They're not the Shia according
allegedly.
to us, by the way.
Yeah. The Shia, what do we mean by the Shia? These people, some of them, they actually preferred Tafdiliya. They actually preferred Ali either over Abu Bakr and Umar or Uthman. Okay? So, Imam Bukhari never took hadith from a Kufi who was known to be a Rafidi. Okay? Someone who was into cursing the Sahaba. Okay? Or anyone like that. Someone who had...
But they took narrations from Khariji and Nasbis who fought against Amir al-Mu'mineen and used to curse him.
Okay. Now, fighting against Amir al-Mu'mineen... Okay. This is another very good question. Is fighting against Ali bin Abi Talib tantamount? Is it tantamount? Tantamount to being a Nasibi? No, we don't accept that. No, because Allah says in the Quran very clearly that when 2 groups of believers, mu'mineen, Allah uses the word, when 2 groups of believers fight each other, make up between them. It is very possible for believers to fight, to have a war. Let me finish. Say yourself. Let me. Yeah. Don't worry about that. So it is possible. Now we believe Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was a believer. He was Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was the leader of believers. Karamallahu wajh. Alayhi salam. Alayhi salam.
By the way, that's good. I'm glad he said alayhi salam. This is evidence that using alayhi salam is permitted, and there's a difference of opinion within Sunni ulama as well.
I believe those who argue against this are fools.
Yep. Okay, so
they don't know what alayhi salam means.
So
they simply don't know. The problem is the Arabic language. They don't know what alayhi salam means. Anyone who argues alayhi salam upon all of them.
So my big brother Adnan said that in the Holy Quran, it says when two groups of Muslims fight, you must bring peace, and this is evidence that two groups of Muslims, meaning those who fought against the Amir al-Mu'mineen, can be Muslim.
Believers, mu'min. No, they can be believers.
They can be believers.
Mu'mineen.
But this is not entirely honest from his side, whether or not he knows or not, right? Let me give you guys a little insight on this verse, okay? And remember this, and please go home, search this up. When this verse was revealed, okay, there was two groups of people during the time of the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him. One was an individual called Abdullah ibn Ubay, who was called the chief of hypocrites, okay? From his camp, they fought, there was a fight, there was an ikhtilaf between a group of Sahaba and this a follower of Abdullah ibn Ubay. They had a little quarrel argument. So what the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, said, when two groups of believers fight, bring peace. Now if you are saying that the term believer means that the person who leads the group is a Muslim, no, because otherwise it means that a mu'min.
Yeah.
A mu'min, then it means that Abdullah ibn Ubay must be a mu'min.
No.
The chief of hypocrites.
No.
It came for him.
No, wait, let me explain.
Okay.
The Quran tells us there's a difference between mu'min and a Muslim.
Okay. No problem.
Allah never called a hypocrite a mu'min in the Quran.
He does,
never,
actually,
never.
he does. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Holy Quran, when it comes to the mushrikeen women, it actually uses the word mu'minah. It says that when the believing women who were called, test them with their belief. In fact, I will show you from the Quran today that the term Muslim doesn't always mean that the person is a believer or a mu'min.
In the Quran, in the Quran.
But please answer Abdullah ibn Ubay, then we'll come to the verses.
In the Quran, let me explain something.
Yeah.
When Islam and Iman are used in the same verse, right? These two mean two different things. But Iman as a term generally in the Quran, okay, when it's used, it can also mean Iman of the higher level, or it can also mean Islam, accepting Islam. For example, Allah says, وَقَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا أعوذ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَقَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا. The Arab, the Bedouins of the desert, they say, we have believed. Allah says, no, you have not yet believed.
Yes.
You have only submitted. You have only become Muslims.
Yeah.
Only This is why this is a well-known reality in the Shia school.
That proves my point. That
Sayid Ali. After the discussion, right?
Go on.
Yeah. This is a well-known reality in the Shia school that they call the general Muslim population Muslims. Even the Sunnis are Muslims to the Shia.
Yes.
They are not mu'mins.
Yes.
They are not believers.
Yes.
People like me, and 90% of the Muslims around the world are only Muslims. They're like the Arab. They haven't truly submitted. The real believers to the Shias are the Shias, who actually believe in the Ahlul Bayt and the teachings. This is the and they're confirming this. Yes. So this is why I'm saying the Quran is not saying that about the two fighting groups.
Okay.
The Quran is actually saying they are believing groups.
Yes, it does. Let me read you the hadith. Let me read you the hadith.
They have Iman.
Okay. Say
but
Bukhari.
then again, Sayid Ali, we are again going off the epistemology.
We're coming back to that. We'll come back to that. But let me finish on this point. So, Brother Adnan mentioned that this verse, and if two groups of believers, mu'mineen, fall to fighting, then make peace between them.
Yes,
so what he said was that those who fought Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam were not kafir, because Allah says in the Quran two groups of Muslims can fight.
Do you believe they're kafar?
Wait, I'll get to that point.
No, but do you?
No, I'll get to that point.
Yes or no?
So I'm gonna prove from his books today.
For fighting Ali bin Abi Talib was Aisha and Muawiyah and the other Sahaba were the kafar.
We will come to that. We will come to that. Yeah, according to your principles. So let's go to your most authentic book collection, Bukhari, to look at the tafsir of this verse about two groups of believers fighting. Okay. And it was said to the Prophet, narrated Anas, it was said to the Prophet, would that you see Abdullah ibn Ubay. So the Prophet went to him riding a donkey, and the Muslims accompanied him walking on salty barren land. When the Prophet reached Abdullah ibn Ubay, the later said, keep away from me. by Allah, the bad smell of your donkey has harmed me. Astaghfirullah. On that, the Ansari man said to Abdullah, by Allah, the smell of your donkey of Allah's messenger is better smell than you. On that, from that two men abused each other, which caused friends of the two men to get angry, and two groups started fighting with sticks, shoes and hands, like what you see in the park sometimes. Yeah? Okay. Then it was said, this verse was revealed, and if two groups of believers failed fighting, they make peace between them. So, Sayyid Bukhari, volume 3, book 49, hadith 856.
Thank you.
So this demonstrates that if we accept that the term believer always means believer, we have to accept Abdullah ibn Ubay and his supporters were believers.
No. Wrong.
Prove it, refute me.
I'll tell you why.
Refute me.
Here, Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul. This man was a clear-cut munafiq. We know that.
He's called a Muslim.
But those who know the history of Medina, they also know that Medina was inhabited by two tribes.
By the way, he was such a big hypocrite. The Prophet read his salah, funeral prayer, and he gave him his shirt.
I agree. We believe he was Raisul Munafiqeen. We are the ones, our sources tell you that these were the Raisul Munafiqeen. Okay? Now the issue is,
your sources say he was a Muslim as well.
A
moment.
Wait.
Quran says.
Yeah. I can give you a better example.
No problem.
The issue of, accusing of Aisha. Right.
Which the Sahaba started, by the way. Yeah. As the brother knows, the Badri Sahaba were amongst those people who accused Aisha of this act first. It was the Sahaba.
Okay. No, not Sahaba, one. No, be careful. Badri.
Sahaba.
Of course, Badri. And how do we know he's Badri? Because when his mother cursed him,
yes,
and then Aisha heard it, and she said, he's Badri. How can you say that about him? So Aisha is telling us that. So don't say Sahaba, because that makes him look bad. Be careful with the language. I'm very careful with the language.
There was three, bro. There was three people.
Yeah, Hassan bin Thabit.
Yeah, so it wasn't just
Abdullah
one.
bin Ubay. Okay, now, amazingly.
Okay, let's not discuss it.
I'm trying to dismantle.
Let's not discuss it.
I'm trying to dismantle. Look, listen. Of course, but let me dismantle your point.
Basically, come back to your point.
Your understanding isn't correct.
Do we take our narrations from the Ahlul Bayt, or do we take it?
You raise questions that you want.
Please.
I should be able to respond.
Please.
Ibn Salul was a munafiq, clear-cut, everyone knew. Hassan bin Thabit was not. The Badri Sahabi was not. And the other, the woman who was lashed. So there were certain companions who were actually lashed by the Prophet ﷺ.
Yeah.
Right? Ibn Salul was part of the accusation. He was not lashed. He was not punished. Because he was already out as far as the Prophet ﷺ was concerned. So this shows that being part of a conspiracy or being part of a group doesn't necessarily mean that every single individual is of the same view or of the same status. So the example you gave from Bukhari actually dismantles your own argument.
Okay, how?
Right? We're not saying that those groups who fought each other from the Ansar, Aus and Khazraj, were actually munafiqeen. One was clear-cut, confirmed munafiq, Ibn Salul. The rest were not munafiqeen. So your application of the verse or your interpretation of the verse based upon a Bukhari report is completely flawed.
Okay, wait, hold on one second.
So now coming back.
No. How is it flawed? Wait, how is it flawed? Look,
now you want to continue with this?
Look. There's two groups of people. One group from the Prophet's side.
No, it wasn't like that.
I just read you the hadith.
No, it wasn't like.
I'll read you the hadith again. It's in the hadith.
Okay.
Go back to the hadith. It says, listen, there was two groups of people. There was the group of the Sahaba with the Prophet who was with. Then there was a group of Abdullah ibn Ubay. They were hypocrites. Okay? Those who followed Abdullah ibn Ubay were the Muslim or were the munafiqs as well?
Good question.
Would you say?
I'll put a question back on you. Do you believe Nahj al-Balagha is an authentic?
What's Nahj al-Balagha? No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. So all those curses of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu.
Listen, we can come to that. Let's not divert.
Wait. Look, I'm trying to show you how flawed your reasoning is by your own sources, right? If you let me speak. In Nahj al-Balagha, there are...
Imam Ali calls them brothers.
No. I'm not...
Okay, no problem.
Don't jump the gun.
Okay.
Imam Ali radiallahu anh stands on the mimbar of Kufa and talks to his Shia, Shia to Ali. Who are these people? The people of Kufa.
Yeah.
And Imam Ali, what words does he use for them? You tell me. Go on.
I don't believe it to be authentic, so you'll have to tell me which
Okay.
sermon.
So why do you believe it's not authentic?
Because
Which part of Nahjul Balagha is authentic and which is not?
Many parts of it are not authentic.
Which ones are authentic?
Well, we have to establish each individual tradition and sermon, and then we have to go back to the Sanadi.
So these ones where Imam Ali is actually, this is by the way Shia book, Nahjul Balagha,
Yes.
and it is one of the major sources. The Shia community loves this book.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
In there.
It's not included in our 4 major books. It's
No,
a
it's
book
not.
of
It's not.
eloquence.
Absolutely, indeed, it's not. I never claimed that, right? So the point is, it is possible to be part of a group and be a munafiq, and the rest are not munafiq. That's the point I'm making. In Medina, there was a conflict between Aus and Khazraj. There were times, thank you. There were times before. You want juice?
No, do some.
There were times before the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina. There was a war between Aus and Khazraj. War. There was a huge war. And they were fighting each other and they were killing each other. One of the reasons the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina was to establish peace between them. But even after the Prophet had come, there was this hostility, tribal hostility in them. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ emphasized so much on Islamic brotherhood. And it was a process of teaching these people to become true Muslims in the sense that they should get this asabiyah out of their hearts. It is not Islam. So there were times when they actually fought each other, or they were nearly fighting each other, right? And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, this verse was revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there are 2 groups of believers. They're believers. Aus, there are believers in Aus, there are believers in Khazraj, and when they fight each other, physically, they are believers. Try to make up between them. And if one is the aggressor, the verse continues, then fight against the aggressor. All of you Muslims get together, believers, fight against the group of aggressors who are also believers.
Okay, so what's that got to do with the verse in Abdullah ibn Ubay? Because they say there are 2 groups of believers.
But it's not helping you, Sayid Ali. It's not
No,
helping
but
you.
it does help
The
me,
interpretation, you're enforcing this interpretation on
I'm
us.
not forcing you.
Which
I'm not
we're
forcing you
gonna
to accept
yeah.
it. All I'm saying to you, look, it's quite clear that according to Bukhari, according to this tradition, there was 2 groups of people. There was
Aus and Khazraj.
No, this tradition.
Yes, Aus and Khazraj.
Yeah, Aus and Khazraj.
Yeah, Aus and Khazraj, yes.
So,
Yes, I gave the context.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So even collectively, we cannot claim that every individual who was would you say the followers of Abdullah ibn Ubay were believers or not?
Those who actually followed him in his nifaq were not believers, kuffar.
Okay.
But how can we know? Some of them.
What about the ones who didn't? As in, what about the ones
the ones who actually truly believed in the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Right.
Okay, were not munafiqun.
Okay, so in the same way,
They were believers.
In the
They
same,
were believers.
okay, that's fine.
Yes.
So in the same way, when it comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, why did you say that all those who fought against Amir al-Mu'mineen, we cannot call them to be kafirs? You
Because Amir al-Mu'mineen never called them kuffar.
What do you mean?
That's my greatest evidence.
Right.
Ali bin Abi Talib,
Right.
the man who was appointed by Allah,
Yeah.
according to your understanding,
Right.
God appointed Imam,
Right.
successor of a prophet.
Right.
Okay, Ma'soom.
Yeah. I can
His
tell
job,
you- okay,
his job was to clarify the truth.
Right. And I can tell
And
you now.
all he had to say was, all he had to say, like I gave an example the other day. You know, let me finish,
Okay.
and I'll do it. Yeah, that when we speak to Christians come to us and say Jesus is God. He is a prophet. He is a messenger. There are verses in the Gospel of Luke and in Matthew and Mark that he was a prophet. He was a messenger. But now the Christians are claiming he is also God. Okay, so we asked them to show us one statement where Jesus could have easily said, I am God, therefore worship me. Jesus had the time to go to the tree and curse the tree. Jesus had the time to call the Pharisees vipers, adulterers, hypocrites, liars. All of these things Jesus could easily say. Jesus could walk around and talk to people about a number of things. But all he couldn't do was make one statement. Likewise, Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anh, he had the time to stand on the minbar and deliver khutbahs.
Okay.
He had all that time, radiallahu anh, karamallahu wajh, all of that. But
Okay,
he
can I
didn't have the
respond?
time to make one statement
Can I respond?
that, ladies and gentlemen, my followers, my Shia, these people, the camp of Muawiyah,
Right.
are kuffar murtadeen.
Okay. Shall
Aisha, the camp of Aisha, kuffar murtadeen.
Yeah.
Okay, therefore fight them and have no mercy. Khawarij, kuffar murtadeen. In fact, Ali bin Abi Talib, the authentic reports we have from him, alayhi salam,
Okay.
people came to him and asked him about Khawarij, last point. are they disbelievers? He said, no, they are our brothers, but they have rebelled against us.
Yeah, brothers, like how in the Holy Quran, Allah also used. Okay, so coming back to the point, first point, what was Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam position about Muawiyah? There's a tradition mentioned in Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba which says that Imam Ali alayhi salam cursed Amr ibn As, Muawiyah, and all those who support him. The tradition is Sahih. I can show you now. Point number one.
Okay.
So this was
no. Before we go further, show me now.
I'll show you now. No problem.
Show me now who
I will
authenticated.
show you. I will show you.
No.
I will show you. No
We're
problem.
not going any further.
Okay, first point.
You
Number
made,
one.
a,
Let
you
me
made a
finish.
claim.
Let me
You
finish.
made a claim that Ali bin
Let
Abi
me
Talib
finish.
cursed
No
Muawiyah
No problem.
and Amr bin As.
In his qanut.
I believe.
100%.
No,
I will show you.
Show me curse. Curse
First,
is lan.
yes.
Curse is lan.
Yeah, and I can show you also where the Prophet said
You're going to show
lan
me words.
and sub on the Sahaba from Sahih Muslim.
La'natullah.
No problem.
Ala
No problem.
Muawiyah.
No problem.
Ala Amr ibn
No
As.
problem. I'll show you. First point. Second point, in Bukhari it says if two groups of Muslims fight, then both of them will be in hellfire. So my question to you, after I showed you this tradition that says that Muawiyah was cursed by Amir al-Mu'mineen in the tradition of Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, and your scholars authenticated it, can you curse a Muslim in your religion?
First of all,
I'll bring you the hadith.
you're going to show me the hadith that it
No
is actually authentic.
No problem. I'll show you.
That Ali bin Abi Talib cursed.
No problem.
Sayyid Ali used the word cursed. Criticizing, rebuking, okay, and being angry is not a problem for us. Okay, cursing is a different matter. We as Sunnis cannot imagine Ali bin Abi Talib, someone as pure as him,
Yeah.
as righteous as him,
Right.
as virtuous as him,
Doing
can
lan and
actually
sub.
curse a Muslim. No.
Okay, shall I tell you something now? You've got a
Lan.
chapter in Say Muslim which explicitly says those who the Prophet cursed and insulted. Okay, I'll show you the traditions. We can get to that. I'll find you the hadith from Muslim.
Well, Allah says in the Quran, La'natullahi alal kadhibin.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah. Yeah, but-
Kadhibin.
Yeah, yeah.
So who is Allah talking about?
I'm
Allah
talking
is
about sub. I'm talking about sub. The Prophet.
Sub is not curse.
Okay.
Be
What's sub?
careful with
Swearing.
this. Is, you see what Muhammad Ijab was talking about.
Right.
That a basic prerequisite for
Right.
such intricate discussions
Right.
is
I
the
know
Arabic,
what sub is.
the Arabic language.
know what sub is.
Sub is not cursing.
Okay, swearing.
It's no.
Okay, what word?
Sub can mean rebuking, reprimanding,
Okay, swear.
reprimanding. Okay, yeah.
So
Well,
what would he call swearing then?
swearing has a number of different words.
Okay, so give me any word for swearing then.
There are a number of different words.
So anyway, I will show you from your books from today. It's from Say Muslim where you have a chapter where
Okay.
the Prophet swore.
But do you realize where we're going with this?
We'll get to that.
We were talking about Ahlul Bayt again because you're gonna throw one thing at me. I'm gonna throw 5 things at you.
Yeah,
Then
no
you're gonna throw
problem.
another 10 things at me.
You carry on,
throw 20
and
things.
I will find you the tradition.
Get to the Ahlul Bayt. I started by ceding territory. I ceded my territory. You know when you're defending your territory, yeah. You sometimes you have to leave the fields and go and lock yourself in the castle so that you can fight a siege battle. So I'm trying to fight a siege battle now. I'm under attack. You're attacking my theology. You're saying the Ahlul Bayt.
You attack it on the slide, that's what you do.
No.
Yeah,
Look at me. I've got such. People tell me I've got a nice smile.
It's those with the smile.
Are they right? Okay. I'm smiling. I'm friendly. I'm brotherly.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah. So I'm saying I am willing to accept for the sake of the argument. Because if we discuss whether the wives are the Ahlul Bayt or not, it doesn't benefit us as Sunnis. We have our view. We're not going to change that. Yeah, we're not going to change that. The wives are according
Okay,
to
I've got the tradition. So the tradition is from Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba. Okay, and the hadith.
Give me the Arabic.
No problem. I've got the scan for you. I've got the book for you. If any of you want it, I'll show it to you.
I want to see the
No
Arabic.
problem. Okay. So let me read the tradition. It says Abdul Rahman narrated. He said, "I prayed Fajr with Ali alayhi salam." Okay. He added, he made qanut.
Are you sure this is from Musannaf of
Let me
Ibn
finish.
Abi
Let me
Shayba?
finish. Yes.
Alayhi salam.
No. The alayhi salam I said.
Oh, you said okay.
Yeah. Okay. You said alayhi salam earlier as well. Okay. So
I believe in it, but I know the language of the Muhaddithin.
Yeah, of course. Bukhari used alayhi salam as well. Even Al-Bani.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says Abdul Rahman narrated that he read Salah, Fajr prayer with Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. Then in his qanut he said, Ya Allah, may you judge and punish Muawiyah and his sect and his followers Amr ibn As and his followers, Abi al-Awar al-Salami and his followers, and Abdullah ibn Qais and his followers. So the point is, look, in Islam, as this respected brother believes, it's not permitted to, number one, to fight another Muslim. If you do, you go to hellfire.
You change the discussion.
Number
now.
two,
You said
you're not
Ali
allowed to
cursed them.
curse, insult them.
Do you remember?
Yes,
Do you
no
remember?
problem.
Sayyid Ali claimed
No
that
problem.
Ali. My contention was, show me where Ali cursed them.
Yes, he
My
did.
contention was very clear, very precise. Show me where Ali cursed them.
Okay,
and you said it is in Musannaf ibn Jabal. So this is why I request from my Shia brothers and sisters around the world and Sunnis that when you quote our sources, be careful with them. Quote them as
Likewise,
they are.
both people.
Yeah, of course, 100%. And to the Sunnis, my advice is, when our Shia brothers bring sources to you in translations, never accept them.
Wow.
Not because they're not trustworthy, not because they're not trustworthy, because they can be mistaken. They can be mistaken, or someone who taught them was mistaken, or someone who taught them might be a liar. Okay, so I'm not saying, of course, likewise, 100%.
If a Sunni comes, we shouldn't take yours.
100%. If a Sunni scholar, a Sunni preacher, or Sunni proponent comes to you and brings references to you, always check them. Always, it's good. But I'm specifically saying, because our discussions, a lot of the times, what happens is they get lost because of misconceptions. So anytime I had a discussion with another brother last week, a Shia brother here, Abu Karar, and he was throwing things at me. What he was doing, he was mixing truth with falsehood. You know, he was making a milkshake and throwing the milkshake. So I was trying to separate the two. I said, hold on a second. Hold on. He said Khalid bin Walid was raping and pillaging. Oh, hold on a second, man, calm down. And he was murdering. So, fine, you have a problem. Yeah, step by step. Rape is one charge, pillaging is another, and murder is another. Come on, man. Fear Allah, and the Prophet is alive. The Prophet ﷺ is alive, and Prophet is still saying he's Sayfun min suyufillah. Prophet ﷺ is still using Khalid bin Walid. It doesn't make sense. So the point is, Sayid Ali, yeah. Again, when you find it, show it to me. Yeah. And you're gonna show me curse. Right. Do you take that back, or you're gonna stand by?
No. Listen, I will. No.
You weren't angry with them.
No, look. I'll take a step even more higher. Okay.
You're gonna show me.
I'm gonna show you the examples with the Prophet himself.
No, forget the Prophet. Wait. In this discussion, wait. You said Ali bin Abi Talib, radiyallahu anhu, alayhi salam, karramallahu wajh. Yeah. No, he cursed Muawiyah and Amr bin As. You use the word curse.
Yes.
Conveniently.
Okay.
I want you to show me the word curse in Arabic and in English translations. If it is not there,
okay, you know what?
just say I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
No.
عليكم السلام. What is أنا بحكي عربي يا أخي، أنا أتكلم العربية الفصحى.
ما شاء الله.
فأنت تقول يسب وأنت تقول كرس. ما معنى كرس بالعربي؟
لعن.
أوكي.
لعن الله اليهود والنصارى اتخذوا قبور أنبيائهم مساجد.
أوكي.
Yes.
لعنة يعني كرس. والسب ما معنى السب بالعربي؟
Curse. Yes.
ما معنى السب بالإنجليزي يا أخي؟
Appropriate, huh? You went in there.
ما معنى سب بالإنجليزي؟
Insult.
Swear.
Generally insult. No swear. Insult. Sub is insult.
Okay. Sub
Yes. Khalas, we're going to continue. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So coming back to the issue, I think we've kind of...
Ahlul Bayt. Come back to Ahlul Bayt.
Coming back to Ahlul Bayt, because the tradition was Sanat Abi Shayba, I would have to
It's
get
done. I think it's done.
No, I will give you the tradition. I don't have the...
You're going to show me where Ali cursed Muawiyah.
I'll get your number and I'll send you the tradition.
You're going to show me where Ali cursed Muawiyah and Amr.
Listen, at the end of the day, whether Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam cursed Muawiyah or whether Muawiyah cursed Amir al-Mu'mineen, we can even discuss that. That's not a problem, we can come to that. But if we start from the beginning of the discussion, who follows that?
Is this Titans TV? Is this Titans TV? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't allow this.
It's Easy TV, that's what it is.
No. I don't allow them to film.
Get rid of it then if it's
Wait. I don't allow because this particular channel uses our differences to inflate hatred. I believe that. Okay. No. I don't allow him to film. I'll wait until his camera is gone, then we'll continue. No. Not Titans TV. Not these people.
the shaitans.
We're having a very friendly Muslim discussion between us, yeah? These people exploit These people exploit our differences to make us look like that we're enemies. Are we enemies? No. Alhamdulillah. Right? So we're not enemies. So we're not gonna continue. So wait, Sayid Ali. Wait. Can you take whose camera is this? Whose camera is this?
And let me just quickly jump in, yeah? Since you wanna slander me.
Do you want to sit down, bro?
No, I think I should sit down.
I'm gonna get up
with your slandering. All right? I don't appreciate you.
Thank you.
Stop. I don't appreciate you slandering me, yeah?
No problem.
Because that's very filthy, very nasty what you just did right there.
Thank you.
We have loads of cameras, yeah, viewing what you just said about me. And every brother here who knows me, know that's not the truth.
Many people know you.
Right?
No problem. Let them decide. Let the people decide.
Bro, I have to say more fairness.
No, wait.
I'm about to descend on you with your nonsense, yeah? Because you need to stop this, because you have a mad hatred. Stop. You have a hatred and disease in your heart, and you know it's true, right? I don't know what type of game you're playing. I don't know what type of game you're playing. That's what he is, because you're a nasty man.
We're having a very good discussion.
I'm saying he's slandering my brother. He's slandering my brother. He's slandering my brother.
No, ignore him. Completely ignore him. Ignore him. This is my advice. Ignore him. Yeah, thank you. If that camera is going, you're going to...
They record us. They record us. They record me. I don't cry about it. When Sunnis record me, I don't cry about it. When they put bad labels up there, I don't cry about it.
Okay.
Flipping hell, bro.
No problem. So when that camera is gone, we're gonna continue with this.
Yeah, bro. Typical bro. You're the Sunni savage monkey, bro.
Wait, we're not at that stage yet. Not Q&A. We're not taking any questions yet. Later on.
You don't want to be in front of that camera.
Brother, we're gonna continue with the discussion.
I don't cry.
Let's go.
So listen, in terms of that tradition, I will inshallah send it to Brother Adnan afterwards the scan.
So
he can go and verify it.
Sayid Ali,
let's come back to the point of discussion.
With respect, I respect this brother a lot. You can clearly see that because I want to talk to him. There are certain individuals I would never talk to. You know why? Because, of course, I believe they don't give respect in return, and they're malicious, right? They twist your words. They are sarcastic. I don't want to talk to people like that. Sayid Ali, I haven't found that so far, and I really like this guy. That's why I'm talking to him. Now,
let's come back to the discussion.
Yeah, so you're going to show me. Leave them. They're not our responsibility. If they're crazy people here, we can't fix them. I'm not a psychiatrist. Yeah. So don't worry about it. Leave them. We'll continue with our discussion. No, this one. No, trust me. I know exactly why. So the point is now, Sayid Ali, we're going to move on to Ahlul Bayt. Yeah. We're going to move.
Two groups of believers fight, make peace between them.
I don't know if they believe it.
Who's the one?
Two groups of believers fight, make peace.
Okay.
What's happened to the Muslims?
So now we're going to continue with our discussion.
Wait, one second. I'm going to continue once I speak.
No. Leave them. Sayid Ali. Trust me, it's going to escalate. No, Isa wants this. He wants to make you look bad. There are people watching his videos and saying, is this how Shias are? And that's why when I speak to Abu Qarar, I tell him to calm down, man, because I don't want people to think the Shias are like this. Yeah? So that's why I'm trying to give a different image to the world. Two reasons. One, so people can see that we respect each other, we can talk to each other. Right? This is helping us. Number two, knowledge, ilm. Right? So now we're going to move on to Ahlul
So
Bayt.
let's come back to the discussion, yeah?
Ahlul Bayt.
So I just want to clarify, number one, in terms of the reference I quoted, inshallah at some point, I will show to this brother. That's the first point. Second point is if we
You're going to show me Ali cursed in an authentic report.
Insulted Muawiyah.
Ali cursed, not insulted. You said cursed.
Done?
You use the word cursed. You use the word. You use the word cursed. Okay. Ali cursed Muawiyah and Amr.
Yeah.
Okay, in Qunut. Yeah. Anyhow, anywhere. Okay. That Ali in his life, his entire life, cursed Muawiyah or Amr in any shape or form in an authentic report. You're going to show me curse. Yeah. If you can't, then I will expect from a respectful person like you to come back and say, I take my words back. I do apologize. Right. So now we're going to talk about Ahlul Bayt.
If not, maybe you should explain the narration anyway. Wait. If not, ran him for 3 years. If not, I will most definitely show you a tradition where Imam Islam asks Allah to definitely punish him, which for me, as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough. That's asking Allah to remove his mercy from him.
That's a different thing.
But we will come to that. Yeah. So coming back to the key discussion, who follows the Ahlul Bayt? So far I've demonstrated numerous examples within Sunni theology where they do not follow the Ahlul Bayt. They don't follow them on the matters of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. They don't follow them on the matters of Salah, on the issue of like Tarawih, on the issue of wiping the feet, for example. So many issues. First point. Second point, if you're saying that you love the Ahlul Bayt, explain to me why you take your traditions from Kharijis and Nasbis. The Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, said that the Kharijis are the dogs of hellfire. That's in Majah, Sunnah ibn Majah. The hadith has been authenticated by Albani. First, number one. Hadith number two, the Prophet said that the Kharijis would leave Islam like how an arrow passes a bow.
Okay.
Okay?
So first of all, we don't accept any, amazingly, one of the reports that comes from one of the so-called Nawasib, which is Marwan bin Hakam. Yeah, I believe he was a Nasibi. I believe. So-called, for those who don't accept it. For those, I believe he was a Nasibi. Amazingly, in this report, you know who's reporting from him? Guess who's reporting? There's only one report by him in Bukhari, Marwan bin Hakam. One report, and Imam Bukhari brings that report as supporting evidence.
Yes.
As supporting it, not as the main, and it has nothing to do with Aqidah or Fiqh. Okay? Now, in that very chain, we have Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Ali bin Hussein bin Ali radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. Okay? He is narrating from Marwan. And Bukhari simply collected it. Now, amazingly, in that very chain, this chain we're talking about, where Marwan, a Nasibi, who narrates from, or Bukhari took one of his narrations. Who is narrating from him? One of the Masoom Imams, Imam Zain al-Abidin. Now Bukhari, being a lover of the Ahlul Bayt, right? He is seeing that the Imam Masoom, not to Bukhari, to the Shias,
right?
Yeah, is actually narrating from a controversial man.
Right.
That's the reason why Imam Bukhari took that report.
Okay.
Otherwise, Imam Bukhari would never take that report if it came from someone else. Right? He took that report from Marwan because from Marwan is narrating Imam Zain al-Abidin. Go and check, and we will talk. Now this is clear. This is clear. Now coming back to the issue of Ahlul Bayt.
By the way, right at the start I mentioned this. You asked me a question. You go, can you take from hypocrites?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah, so this is what it's about as well. It's kind of linked.
We don't take. I mean, I made it very clear. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say to you is that you gave an example. You said, listen, Marwan was a bad character individual.
To me.
Yeah, to you.
Yeah? The only reason I put a question mark on him, I'm explaining.